Customizing Entity Views in CRM 2011. Entity View Basics. Views are lists of a particular entity with filter criteria, column formatting, and sort properties. A view is always associated with a single entity and is used for accessing records, reporting, and exporting by end users. There are three kinds of views in CRM. System views and public views, which are sometimes both referred to as system views, and private views. The system and public views are created via the customization interface and are accessible to all users who have access to a particular entity. Users create their own private views by saving an advanced find, and these views can be shared with users and teams. System views. System views are created by CRM with the entity. They involve the following: the advanced find view, which is a default view for an advanced find that's not started from another view. The associated view. It's used to list the associated entity records from the primary entity. When you click on the nav pane to go to an associated entity, this would be the view that you would see. The lookup view. This is a default view used for looking up a record from a lookup field to that entity. And the quick find view. This is a default view for the quick find lookup that's in the top left of the interface for end users. System views are customizable, although they are subject to managed solutions rules. And system views are not deletable. Public views. Two public views are created by CRM with an entity as well. There'll be the active entity plural name default public view and the inactive entity plural name public view. The default view is the default view displayed for an entity. It is the first view displayed when a user views an entity. A CRM for Outlook can override this and set its own default, but web clients are not able to do that. You can also create custom public views, and any public view can be designated as a default view. So you can create a more complex view than active distributors, for instance, and make that the default view, even though it was the active distributors was created when the distributor entity was created. So here's the views that are created when a custom entity is created. As you can see, the lists that we've reviewed recently are right there on the screen in front of you. Views appear to CRM users as options in a drop-down list. So if you'll notice that next to cases, we have My Active Cases, which is the default out of the box for the default public view for cases. All system, public, and personal views are accessed via this drop-down list. Under System Views, all the system and public views are listed here. Under My Views, a user's private views are listed. Customizing system and public views. Customizing of views is done from within the entity customization interface. All view customizations are stored with the entity itself. To get there, you go to Settings, Customization, Customizations, Customize the system, Entities, choose the entity to customize, and Views. To access the View Customization user interface, Settings, Customizations, Customize the system, and then select Views from within the entity that you wish to work on. Customizing system views. System views can be customized. Columns may be added or removed, and you can include attributes from the entity or related primary entities. The column header is from the attribute display name, and you cannot override the name within the view, but you can change the display name in the attribute if you need to make this change. Column widths can be changed, and filter criteria can also be changed. The sort order can be changed, and you can sort on up to 2 displayed columns. However, you cannot sort on attributes from the related entities only attributes of the primary entity that the view is attached to. And the quick find view has one additional property called find columns, which are the index columns used for the search. Be careful not to click too many of these columns because it can have an impact upon performance. So now let's take a look at customizing some system views. We'll start with customizing in the case entity. It has a lot of built-in views. So let's start with the default public view, which is My Active Cases. This is the customization interface for views. It does not support drag and drop like forms do. However, I can click on a particular column and use these green arrows to move the column to a different location. I also can double click on any column to affect its width. I can edit my filter criteria, which, if you'll notice, looks a lot like an advanced find view, and the default filter criteria are that the owner equals the current user, which basically means my records, and the records are active. I have the ability to add a number of ands or ors and additional criteria to this as needed. Sorting can be based on either one or two fields, and this is being sorted on title, but I might want to change this and sort first on priority and then on title to make sure that I'm focused on what's important. I can also add new columns. When I click on the Add New Columns button, I get the Add Columns web page dialog, which allows me to select all of the attributes that have not yet been selected in the view from the entity related to this view, which is the case in this particular instance. So I've just added contract and description to this. But I also can go back in and add columns from any entities that are related. So for instance, I could pull information from the customer record because this is related to the customer. And this allows me to pull the account ID out and place it in there. Now note, if I go ahead and widen this record a little bit so that you can see it, or this column, you can see it says account ID parentheses customer to help you understand that this is coming from another entity. You cannot sort on this column. So after I've made the changes, I can do my save. And like any other customizations that I might be doing, I would need to go ahead and publish, which I can publish all customizations, or I can just go to the case record and publish the cased entity by itself. Now the other thing that I wanted to do was to show you in the quick find view the difference, the one additional attribute that is supported here that's not supported in other types of views. So we'll expand it out, and as you can see, the interface looks exactly the same. We have the fields or columns going across the top, and I can use the buttons to move them around. But where I could add view columns before, now I can add find columns as well. The find columns are the columns that will be searched using the target string in a quick find. So this allows you to actually search multiple columns in a search and provide a much more versatile quick find search. So in this case, we can see that we've already searching the case number and the title. But I also could choose to search for a serial number if I so chose. Now, be careful. I've worked in a site once where someone clicked this button here and indexed every single field in the Add Find columns. This will cause major performance issues on your system. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to select the case ID and the title and the serial number again, and click OK and save and close. And that's all there is to customizing views. Now let's take a moment to discuss customizing public views. It's very similar to what we've seen. However, there are one or two little differences. Now, first of all, the public views have a default view, and the default view can be changed to any public view within an entity. Custom views can be added or deleted, but you cannot delete system-created or managed solution views. Public views can be customized. Columns can be added or removed. You can include attributes from the entity and related primary entities. The column header works the same way as it does in the system views, as do column widths and filter criteria. We can change the sort order, and we cannot sort on related entity columns. So let's take a quick look at maintaining the public views. So first of all, in this example, we're back to the case, and you can see my active cases is highlighted, and it is in fact the default public view. But I can choose and make active cases the public view on this by simply clicking this and going to More Actions and clicking on Set Default. Now you notice that active cases is now the default public view, and my active cases is no longer. I also have the ability to do a few other things. I can activate and deactivate views, and I can show dependencies and manage properties. So if I have a view that I want to keep, but I just don't want anyone to be able to use it for a little while, then I could come down here and first select the view, and then click on Deactivate. It has dropped this from the list because this is the view of active views. But if I wanted to look at inactive public views, then I can click and go back there and cause it to be reactivated.